Hello and welcome to the first match of the Grand Finals for the 2024 Dragon Warrior Randomizer Winter League. We have High Spirits restreaming, Shahali and RG365 tracking, and I am Secret Agent Mand, and I am joined tonight in the commentary booth by a conglomeration of names that currently rests in a state between Beta Strep FM and Bort License Plate Skeletons. Game 1 is a permanent repel week seed, and how does it feel not having to tell people to repel tonight, Beta?
Oh, I'm very excited for this flag set. It has a few unique twists to it. First of all, as you said, it is permanent repel. And as an added bonus, we have heal and hurt before more, so you're not going to see, in all likelihood, an early hurt more scenario. And they also have chaos monsters, so we don't know right off the bat what we have to do as far as our defense is concerned relative to what we're repelling. And as an extra little twist, the armor cannot roll into Sharlock, and this is actually a scenario where you'd want it in Sharlock, because it's possible you could stumble on it if you explore and open a treasure chest.
Yeah, with all the randomization, you really don't want to have defense too high when you're considering permanent repel, because the odds are that the things that you're going to want to fight are actually going to be the things that you're going to repel if you get armor, and that means you might have to reset out of an armor if you accidentally get one, and it could be absolutely brutal depending.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see some things that you don't typically see when we are racing Randomizer, and one of the things is, like, before people check the treasure chests in Tantagel, we might see people save the game first just to make sure they don't pull the armor, and if they do, they might instantly reset and just mark that the armor's in the treasury and just not get it until they've figured out their grind.
One thing they won't have to figure out is the AP. It's level 1 is pretty good at shat noting 21. Chaos mobs, it might not actually be that good, but it does give you a decent odds that you're going to eat what are they called? The noodles relatively easily.
Yeah, since it's chaos, the weakest enemies in the starting zones can easily roll max agility and be very difficult to kill. In the throne room, we did see 2 gold chests, so we are not living the dream of having an instant armor.
Slamu already sees the ghost run away, and that's not good sight. Armor Knights are killable, but only 7, which is disgusting, but that'll give DK the first level at least.
Unfortunately, it didn't look like level 2 gave much in terms of agility. Like, when you're leveling up in this flag set, you desperately do not want to see a big agility boost ever, because it might knock you out of your grind instantly.
Big Slamu getting beaten up by a Poltergeist. Meanwhile, DK finding out that Reds have hurt, which seemed to make them a good enemy, but then they also back that up with heal more, which does the opposite generally. Ooh! 58 from a Magidrakey. Murder Bats are out tonight.
Yeah, that's just a normal feature of Chaos. You're bound to see a few things that just hit you for an enormous amount of damage. I'm very curious to see if anybody's going to try to push out and find a town to try to grab a weapon, or maybe even Fairy Water. Like, Fairy Water has extremely high value in Chaos because it's, unless you see a Metal Slime, this is one thing that's left over from standard flags, is that Fairy Water is only going to roll 0 to 1 on Metal Slimes, even in Chaos. But against everything else, it's guaranteed to land for 9 to 16.
Yeah, and it looked like Slamu did actually try to branch out for a town, but went a bit north before he died to the Poltergeist, and it looked like south there was just no real avenue for exploring.
And Schmike points out, 58 against no defense isn't that much. Well, it's still like 120 attack power. It's like the same thing as a standard Red Dragon, which is plenty.
Yeah, it's not much in the Chaos realm, but when you're talking about overall in the game, that's a number that you don't like seeing, and it's especially a number you don't like seeing at level 2, potentially in one of the opening zones.
And speaking of levels, we do have Slamu gaining a level, and well, he does get hurt. That's good, but he did not gain any attack power.
Slamu managing to climb a bit back into this by finding a couple enemies that are better to fight, but at the same time, that's not really saying much because he's only at 19.
Quinn Patrick and DK both killed a Warlock, which is worth triple digits. That is a grind you want to sit on for as long as you possibly can.
And it actually gets DK all the way to level 5. I didn't see what the gains were, but potentially a fair bit. Now DK isn't actually doing anything with it yet, but maybe have a chance to see soon, depending on some of his swings. Yeah, I don't think it gave much AP, which is worrying.
Yeah, the AP it started well, but it's kind of been stuck. The hit points aren't going up much either. And I think the Warlock only hit them for like 5 damage as well, so if we see a boost in agility of like 10 or something like that, that might be enough to nudge it into broken territory, and then they will lose that grind.
Ooh, yeah, and some of them haven't even found that grind. It seems to be pretty hard to kill in terms of just having a bunch of HP, probably. Because I've seen Slamu die to it a couple times, aaron2u2 hasn't managed to kill one either. So it's a great enemy to get, but man, it has not been easy to get, I should say.
And Aaron has found coal. Now, I'm very curious to see if he searches the tile or not. Personally, I might not do it. Like, I might just wait.
Hand axe here, I don't do it. That's too good to give up, especially since he didn't say before coming here, but he's going to do it and find nothing.
That is literally the only time I would be thrilled to see that tile have nothing on it. Like, personally, I think it's a mistake to search that tile without saving the game. I would definitely not want to go to Erdrick's Armor right now.
Meanwhile, that hand axe will actually do more for him than 5 levels have done, so feels pretty good in his shoes.
Yeah, boosting yourself with a weapon is critical here, and Aaron has found another triple-digit enemy with the Wraith. I did not see how much damage the Wraith did to him, but that is something I will pay very close attention to the next time he fights it.
I think he was only 8 HP short of his max, so it couldn't have done that much. That feels like a pretty good enemy.
Yeah, seeing these triple-digit enemies doing single-digit damage as a runner would make me very nervous.
Yeah, I think the one problem is, like we just saw right there, DK, I think from relatively max HP, still could not manage to beat that Warlock, so it is actually deceptively hard to take down just because it takes so many swings. Ooh, golems are pretty solid at 73.
I expect to see a lot of just what we're seeing right now. People are just going to sit tight until the game forces them off the grind with the stat boost.
Yeah, it makes sense if you have enough money to buy at least a hand axe, but Slamu died trying to get somewhere to buy that hand axe. aaron2u2 already has it, and last I saw DK had, yeah, 67 gold, which is basically enough to buy a bamboo pole, which is not something you're going to really worry about.
Yeah, honestly, torches and fairy water are more valuable than that.
And with a hurt spell, honestly, they aren't as valuable as they would have been at level 1.
And chat did bring up a good point. Apparently clothes were in the shop in Cole, so it was okay to check. I didn't see the clothes on the item list, so...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, once you see that, I guess it's fine. But it's like, if it wasn't there, then... Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the rare times when you might actually want to sell the armor for clothes, although that still does put you a bit higher defense points than you would be otherwise. It probably isn't enough to break something that you would otherwise really want.
Oh no. Level 7 brought a massive agility boost.
Ooh.
So I think Slamu is going to lose his grind.
Yeah, now you're the point where, it kind of hurts if you're Slamu, because a town is not that far, and he wouldn't have had enough money for the hand axe yet, but he would have been close. And right now, once that agility starts bumping up like that, you really just want to get a weapon desperately. Obviously, it's not quite as important as permanent repel without chaos stats, because maybe the enemy you find will be good, but not repellable ever, but be just really a easy thing to kill. But the odds are definitely more in your favor if you do have a weapon.
I mean, on the plus side, he does have the hurt spell, which can bail him out, and apparently a Demonite is a decent enemy. It's not a triple-digit enemy, but it's a decent one. And we still don't have any idea what monsters rolled onto the spike tiles, so the one saving grace of this flag set is you cannot repel the monster that's on the spike in Hawksness or Swamp Cave or Sharlock. They're guaranteed to be there every single time. So there's at least some hope that you would have a grind remaining.
Yeah, it's always a little bit tough to get a good spike tile to fight in Chaos, but when it happens, it is exceedingly valuable.
And now Quinn is going to get the bad news.
Just instantly leaves wherever he was, and it's like, no, I gotta find something new now. Oh, I don't think we've seen anyone go this direction yet.
That Poltergeist was hitting DK for 2, so that's going to be broken at level 7 for sure.
Oh, Quinn Patrick manages to find a town in the direction that nobody else has gone yet, but it's Breckenary.
Well, Breckenary does have fairy water, and for Quinn, it also has a club, which is slightly useful.
Also has a broadsword as a eventual buy, so that's not too bad, yeah. Meanwhile, there's also a cave underneath coal, I believe, but I haven't seen what exactly it is yet.
Well, Wizard has DL2 breath.
Ooh.
And yes, according to chat, that cave was the Staff of Rain cave, so no chests to be found in there to potentially benefit the runners.
Quinn Patrick will stock up, but I don't know that he bought fairy water. Maybe feeling a bit comfortable with the club and the AP being decent, but obviously fairy water can save you some time. Some enemies that turn out to have super high agility. DK will also manage to find Breckenary.
I think I saw Quinn go to the bottom shop, which probably means herbs were purchased if you had any money for that. Healing is kind of useful here when you know that every enemy you're fighting is not going to be broken.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Quinn manages to reach 0 gold, as does DK by buying the club, so that always feels weird. Ooh, that could be big for DK. Quinn did not manage to reach Rimeldar. I don't think he knows it's down there. DK DK obviously can't buy any keys yet, but, you know, potentially he can if he can scrounge together some money. Maybe on this gold man, but maybe not easy depending on the HP total.
I mean, it's definitely good to know where it is for future reference, but it's going to be painful trying to get money to get keys for him at this point.
Yeah, there's really just a situation where if you have to buy keys one at a time, you're fine with it, because it may be hard to build up money aside from that. We really haven't seen too much by way of money in terms of mobs. Like there's some decent EXP mobs, but most people have seemed to go down in money rather than up, which is honestly a bit rare in Chaos, even with deaths. It's pretty common for just the things you kill to just give you large chunks of money pretty often.
I think there was like one enemy that gave triple-digit gold. Like I think Slamu killed it, and that's what got him to level 7, but it only gave him like 5 experience, but I don't remember what that monster was. And Slamu found Cantlin, but has no money, so basically useless.
Yeah, just looking at everybody's stream, everything that's getting killed just isn't worth that much. Like there's a Droll at 71 is basically the best I've seen so far get killed by somebody. Oh, ooh, the wizards are actually really good though, but they do have hurt more, so they are potentially a bit dangerous.
Level 8 was 0, 11, 11, and 3, which is, again, not what you want to see in Permanent Repel, but I mean, he did learn Return.
I think he'd like to return to a time when he wasn't playing a Permanent Repel seed. That is rough. Again, you don't mind the agility going up too much as long as the strength is keeping pace, but we started it, I think it was 21 AP, and I think most of aaron2u2's gains since then have still come from that hand axe, which is just, that is abysmal.
Yeah, I would be nervous with that agility climbing like that. Like, I would want to have the sleep spell or something like that to try to neutralize. Oh, there's a magic key in the Stones Cave for Aaron,
Ooh.
so he didn't need Rimmildar.
That's going to potentially help Quinn out, though, because he has given up on going further that other direction, I think. So I don't think he has seen Rim still.
And DK still does not have enough money for a key.
Yeah, this is just rough. I mean, so far the only one with any real amount of money is aaron2u2, and to a lesser degree Quinn Patrick, although he's about to lose half of it. One thing that could hurt aaron2u2 is he did only grab 1 key out of that cave. Again, we'll probably manage to keep some money, but if he runs low on it or decides to use a key, say, in Garenham right here, he may have to do a little bit of walking back and forth to restore that key.
Well, he does have about 500 gold, and we know he's not going to buy armor or a shield, so as long as he doesn't go crazy here buying herbs and such and like 10 dragon scales or something like that, like he will have enough to at least get a couple keys, perhaps, if he were to ever have to buy them. And I don't remember exactly where the Stones Cave was, but it's probably not super far from start.
Yeah, it seemed a bit past Starlock, but not that far in the end. He actually might be going back in that direction now. DK, meanwhile, has also found Cantlin and wandered past it, but has his run in by a wizard with enough gold to buy 2 keys. Ooh.
And Slamu finds the Stones Cave, and he's going to at least double dip for it. I'm very curious to see if DK makes an immediate beeline for Rimmildar, because he doesn't have enough for 1 key.
Yeah, I definitely would. I would probably save here and just run right for it, because at the very least you want to have 1 in your back pocket, but he's not going to do that. Ooh. It's a bit of a risk given how gold starved the runners have been, but generally it won't be an issue in Chaos. We're just gonna have to see if this seed is a general seed.
Okay, Wyverns give almost 100 gold, so that's a juicy target if you're very starved for money, as DK still is.
Look, Ziggy, if he didn't want to be robbed, he should have locked the chest. And he has keys. He can literally lock the chest and open them up with keys. DK will again...
Sorry, go ahead.
DK will again lose half his money along with Slamu, although Slamu with the keys is going to do exactly what I was about to say. He's going to save here and then go check in chests.
I was going to mention that a quick glance at the XP. Aaron has a lead, which is probably due to the hand axe. Quinn is not that far behind him, actually. And then Slamu and DK are still a level behind. And in the treasure, we have Wings, Dragon Scale, which... useless. Wings again, still useless. And an herb, so that is a bust of a treasury.
Not even gold, which is one thing you'd really like to have in this flag set.
I mean, there's still a chance it could be underneath Tantagel and Mountain Cave or something like that. Aaron is checking Garenham, and we have... okay, he got a key fund. The other chest was a torch, and the third chest was, I believe, an herb, because it said nothing.
Oh, Slamu has a spike tile in mind, probably. Manages to find Swamp South under... oh, nope, he's just going to skip it for now and go see what the other side is. A lot of desert.
I think we had the Rainbow Drop Cave underneath Garenham, and the bottom of the Tablet Cave was just an herb, so every chest that the runners have found so far has been, other than the key find in Stone's Cave, every other chest has just been nothing of consequence.
And we already know one search spot is Bupkus. That's actually potentially very bad, because at this point we still have all the trading items and armor has to be outside of Sharlock. The chances that Sword... I mean, there's still all of Graven Mountain Cave to go, but the chances that Sword is maybe in Sharlock is exponentially rising, and that's really something you don't want to have happen in this flag set, I feel.
And we just got a coordinate check of 34 south, 23 west, I believe, from Aaron.
Exceedingly countable. Speaking of countable, DK manages to get 2 keys. Curious what he does with them now. He is not going to use them on the rim chest.
Probably a good decision.
That said, might be able to get enough gold here to buy another key or 2 and then just die and reset, save, so that he can reset out of it. But he takes a death to a solidly hitting Droll Magi.
You just had to say he might earn enough gold for more keys, didn't you?
Look, it might happen, and also he might get mugged by a weird monster. Like Droll Magi are just one of the creepiest monsters out there.
Like, it was just like literally the next encounter he had after you said it, just instantly dies.
No refunds.
And now he finds out just how worthless Tantagel is, and he's gonna burn his other key here, and he's gonna... I imagine he's gonna try to go through Swamp.
Yeah, I'm curious, he might have saved while we weren't looking. That would make this a really good play, because you can see if the keys are totally worthless in Tantagel, and then just reset out of it if he wants. But if not, I mean, it's not like Rim is that far, so it shouldn't be a long-term issue.
Yeah, I definitely did not see if he saved the game first or not. I don't think that he did, but he might have.
Yeah, if he's walking right back out, then he definitely didn't. Red dragons aren't bad to kill if you want a little bit of money too, but that's about it.
He did earn a few hundred gold in the swamp cave too, so he's fine.
So yeah, the only one still remaining is Quinn Patrick without keys. Might be able to solve that here. I'm not sure where he is.
Slimu glanced at the shop, and he already has a copper sword, so there's literally nothing he can buy right now that would have improved his offense.
Yeah, Quinn Patrick will manage to get keys. Is going to just immediately return after one. Probably has enough money to buy more, so just figures that's quicker than the repeatedly going in and out of the shop. Or, oh, he's going to save and reset, potentially, if need be, and the need will be there, because that treasury was supremely unhelpful. aaron2u2, meanwhile, seems to be counting it out a bit.
This is a scenario where, like, if you don't get keys until now and then you realize how close they were, you'd feel really bad about it, but then once you start opening chests, you'll just realize how useless they are.
Yeah. Literally, the only thing they've given the racers potentially is the coordinates, and that could be, you know, the fairy flute or the death necklace or something. The fairy flute probably isn't good. Oh yeah, it definitely isn't good because we've already seen the golems are pretty easy to kill. aaron2u2, meanwhile, seems like he's... Is it on the other side of the water? Ooh.
Looks like it is. So we thought it was a pretty straightforward count, but not so much.
That could be second continent. I don't think aaron2u2 has gone through swamp yet.
I thought he did, but he might have died to something. And speaking of dying, Big Slimu just got tagged by DL2 breath from a wizard.
Yeah, they're definitely killable, but they also make you very killable as well. It's going to be a while before our racers manage to get over that hump, considering armor definitely isn't anywhere close, and you might not even want it, even at this point, if you do get it.
DK is trying to brute force his way through the swamp cave. Like, he saved the game, and he's just making repeated runs at this, and I think he's died at least twice in there now.
Which is astounding, considering how easy Slimu got through there. I think maybe twice, because I think Slimu maybe went back through at one point, or I can't remember. Ooh, skeleton's worth a fair bit. What is even killing him in here? Well, I guess we'll never know.
Might have been a Star Wyvern.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that a couple times on screen.
Could also just be Shahali's icon. That could be the other thing that we're seeing.
Meanwhile, DK put into a bad situation by run blocks from a Wraith Knight. He basically is in a situation, well, now he's gonna die. Oh, I wonder if that's it. Maybe it wasn't so much the swamp cave killing him alone, it was just the area afterwards, too. But this is being a real big setback. I don't know that he's killed much that's worth it in that area, but he basically got nothing out of all those attempts.
Yep, and he is lagging behind at 500 experience. He's 100 behind Slimu, who's the next in line. Aaron is getting close to 1,000. He's closing in on the next level. That hand axe purchase early on is doing work for him relative to the other runners.
Yeah, definitely. The problem is that nobody else even came close to seeing it. Slimu was, I think, the next closest to actually seeing the town. But it took him so many tries to get out there because he just kept dying right about here, actually. But if you'd seen it earlier, maybe you can justify resetting to take your gold there. But at the point everyone saw it, there's just no real reason.
Yeah, I imagine everybody else probably died at least 5 times at that point. just one of those luck of the draw type of things. Like, you have to go the right way, and you have to just not see the wrong things and die over and over again. And Drolls apparently are pretty gettable, but they only give 43 experience, so that's... I mean, this is okay to go to, like, level 9, which is, like, another 500 experience away, but, eh. And the level up was 14 power, so finally there's a power gain of significance.
Yeah, I was gonna say before that level, they have only gained in 8 levels, 7 levels, like less than 20. I think it was like 19 or 17 or something in that range, AP from strength, and that is just brutal gains. So that'll really help out to finally be able to fight more. And once everybody manages to get to that level, they'll be freed up from not having that hand axe a bit. Assuming they can get there in a speedy manner. So far, Gwen Patrick is the only one even close. Ooh. Grave on Big Slamu's side. Harp and stones.
That is extremely valuable, and he's going to immediately play the harp. Because, well, the harp does not work in caves, first of all. So, Slamu, you have to walk out and then play it. Now, in normal circumstances, the harp would pull the weakest enemies. I don't know if it's still coded to do that in Chaos. I assume that it is.
Hard to say, but I mean, at the very least, it'll pull something that maybe you haven't seen yet. So it's potentially information, no matter what. Oh yeah, Metal Slime, so it does pull the weakest enemies.
So yeah, here's a permanent repel hack with a pretty ingenious play by Slamu. Playing the harp, guaranteeing weak enemies.
The only downside is that Metal Slime, I hadn't seen it killed before, but it was worth 5 experience and 403 gold. So it's got its values mixed up a little bit.
The other aspect of this is, since he's pulling weak enemies, they all have a 25% chance to run before he has a chance to act, and then they have a 25% chance to run every single turn thereafter.
And so far, 2 of them combined are worth only like less than 10 experience, I think. Maybe 11. So he's going to give up on it now.
I mean, it could have worked for a pseudo gold grind. I mean, the Metal Slime gives a ton of gold. You could fight that thing like 5 or 6 times and gear up if you wanted to. Like, you could at least do it to get the broadsword. That's what I would be thinking of doing with it.
Yeah, I don't think he's seen the broadsword in the town yet because he hasn't checked Cantlin's shop and he hasn't been to the Rimuldar Breckenary area. But he has seen hand axe, and if I'm him, I'm definitely considering just going back to Cole to grab that real quick, because that would just be such an upgrade right now.
He also knows where Cantlin is. I mean, when he saw it, he had no money. Like, he had 30 gold, so he just walked out immediately. Like, if I'm him, I think I would go to Cantlin right away. And if I see either a broadsword or a flame sword, I mean, he has keys. He can check the locked shop now. If it has a broadsword or a flame sword, I would just start playing the harp and look for metal slimes and just get the gold to upgrade my weapon significantly.
And he's seen that Star Wyvern that has maybe killed some people before. It's not unkillable at all, but it is a bit more trouble than it's worth, honestly. 44 XP for an enemy that does nearly as much damage to you isn't great.
And there's an interesting subtext happening here. So, because of Slamu pulling 2 plot items out of the grave, we now know that there is at least a fair chance that the sword is what rolled onto the coordinates. Because you have the sword, the flute, the death necklace, and the armor. So,
yeah,
you just never know. You might luck out with it.
I don't know that Slamu has seen the coordinates, because I think he just, like you said, walked into Cantlin and walked out. So he probably should go for it, but right now he's just cleaning up some other things, like this tablet cave he just found.
Yeah, the Cantlin coordinates check would be front of mind for me if I'm Slamu. I mean, Aaron obviously doesn't have Slamu's knowledge. I mean, if he did have Slamu's knowledge, I feel like he would be doing everything he could to get to the coordinates as fast as possible, even though apparently it's something you have to landmark.
Yeah. At the very least, it didn't seem to be a hard landmark. You could see a fair bit of the other shore from the side aaron2u2 was on.
And let's take a moment to laugh at the fact that at level 10, the agility stat is 83 and green.
Ooh. That is the exact opposite of what you want to see. Yeah, aaron2u2, the hand axe ain't going to cut it for much longer. He needs to upgrade. Everyone needs to upgrade fast. This is... Ooh. DK has found Garenham. Oh no, we already seen Garenham. So that's not good. Yeah, this is just kind of rough.
I mean, sometimes you luck out with permanent repel seeds. I mean, especially like with it being chaos monsters, sometimes you luck out and you have a big XP monster you can just feast on that, like maybe it has 10 hit points or something and a ton of attack power. But so far, like the best things we've seen are already repelled, which is just, that's a disaster.
Yeah, like really you have to get a good weapon right now. It's just in that situation where there's really no alternative. Ooh, Slamu sees a cave, but he can't get to it because he just doesn't have any more healing. Which is unfortunate because I think he maybe used an herb when he wasn't in the red in Tablet Cave. But that may cause him to go back into Cantlin. And if it does, he may see a broadsword there. And, well, never mind. He may see a broadsword there, but it isn't going to be this trip.
The other low-key problem for every runner in this seed is the fact that, so Aaron's level 10 and no healing spell.
Yeah, that's just rough. And to answer the chat, we have seen 2 gold chests. They were both in Tendril Throne Room though, so not achievable. It's feeling likely that the gold has rolled into Sherlock, Deepgrave, or I mean, it has to have rolled into Sherlock, Deepgrave, or Mountain, which we still haven't seen.
I'm trying to decide like what the best strat is for these runners because this is legitimately tough. Like if I'm Slamu,
he's doing it.
I think Slamu is gonna try to grind gold for broadsword, or I don't know if flamesword is available or not. I mean, if flamesword is available, I would definitely just sit here and do this until I could get flame.
Yeah. Meanwhile, aaron2u2 is going through swamp, so I think the best strategy for him, I know at least one of the racer has the coordinates, but the best strategy for him right now is potentially going to be... Oh, he's not going through it, he's grinding in it. But it's going to be to go for that potential sword on the search spot. The one downside is, like, you really want to... Especially with the agility as high as it is, you almost really want to... Unless you have tried out and killed a Spike Tau, you kind of want to save before you even try the search spot. Because the armor would just be an absolute death knell here. At 83 agility, you're just going to get to repelling so much stuff, and that is just potentially not what you want.
Yeah, this is definitely a scenario where I'd be paying very close attention to the incoming damage rolls from the monsters. Anything that's rolling, say, 20 or below, if you pick up Erdrick's armor, that's just gone. Like, you're just never going to see that monster again.
I'm surprised aaron2u didn't force that, unless he's seen that enemy before. He sees the Druid Lord run away on the Spike Tau, which is great news in some ways, but like he didn't try killing it with anything. So that means he doesn't have any information on it. If that Druid Lord is like a low HP, high agility mob that you can just hurt down or something that's worth a bunch, that is potentially like license to not care about getting the armor or not. Is if you can rely on a Spike Tile, then you don't have to be as worried about getting more DP and repelling stuff. But he just did not want to check it again to see if he could get it.
The only thing he would know about it is that it has 28 strength or less. Like, that's, if it runs away, all you know is your strength is at least double, which isn't particularly useful information at this point. It's like, okay, thanks, but...
Yeah, you know it means the other stats are somewhat good because it has to be a Spike Tile, and this seed has been kind of... The enemies haven't been too tough, but they haven't been easy enough where you think that's going to be an absolute pushover. But, you know, it could, again, be a low HP enemy that just has high agility, and if that's the case, there's plenty of ways to kill that.
Especially once you learn sleep, assuming it doesn't resist it. But with with just the hurt spell, oof. Like if it rolls like 20 HP or something, like even that piddly amount of HP would be problematic if the monster has really high agility. Like it'll just, you know, and it might have some resist too. But yeah, I would say if, like, especially if I do the search and get the armor and am immediately disappointed, like I'd instantly go back to the spike and see if I could try to kill it and farm it, because you're probably not going to see anything else until you get the harp, which is, as we said before, it was pulling weak, worthless monsters that were giving like 5 XP or something, but the golem rolled into that enemy pool, and the golem gives 70-ish.
Yeah, that may actually be the best grind for now, at least, just because there's so little other options left. Hand axe here, there's a flame sword though, and Slamu may go all the way to that flame sword, considering the golem is in that pool. Gonna check around for the broadsword too, just in case, but I wouldn't be surprised if he decides to go for that, especially since the broadsword isn't in Cantlin, or if it is, it's in the lot shop. Oh, and we do have an attempt on the Druid Lord. It does appear to be high agility because DK is hurting it, but he does not manage to get it done with however many he tried.
He tried at least 2 hurts. He probably tried 3 or more. Like that enemy rolled up on HP, and Slamu does find the broadsword in the lock shop, so he can finally start taking swings at some better enemies, hopefully.
DK is gonna maybe try that Spite Tile again, see if he can get a better read on it. But if it does have high HP, then you're really gonna have to get hurt more before you do anything with it.
And just taking a gander at XP counts again, we have DK is still lagging behind. Slamu is a bit under 900. Quinn is approaching 1,000, and Aaron is just off to the races. I mean, saying that kind of sarcastically at this point, but he's approaching 2,000 experience, which is actually a major achievement at this point in this particular seed. And he's now playing the harp too. He's doing the thing that Slamu did before. He's hoping, crossing his fingers, maybe doing ritual sacrifices to try to induce something of value to show up. But he's going to learn the same thing that Slamu did, which is this pool of enemies is kind of eh.
Oh wait, he got a wyvern. Oh, those are actually pretty solid to kill, aren't they?
I honestly don't remember what they're worth. He ran away from it, so he must not like it for some reason.
Okay. I know DK's been killing them, but DK might be doing it just for the gold. And Slamu has counted out the found the coordinates, I should say, and is now saving. He is absolutely going to try that now, and I imagine once he sees it's on second continent, he's going to see if he can do a count there. I'm not sure how much he enjoys the landmark counts, but he's going to have to unless he wants to get Princess.
Well, the good news is we know the princess is easily rescued in this seed. You can either take the long way through and just hurt spam the Druid Lord, which might have a ton of HP, or you can just wait it out and just wait until it runs away from you.
Oh, he actually just decides to go away from the count pretty early, so he will not be going for that right now.
I think Slamu just realized that the count is going to be awful, and Quinn got the fighter's ring out of the mountain cave. I think it was in the vanilla chest too.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the other chests were. We'll have to wait for the backers chat or someone else to... Ooh, a gold chest. That's honestly not inconsiderate. Oh, but he doesn't have outside. Ooh, yeah, that's That is actually kind of rough then. If you had outside, I would be really tempted to just go back in repeatedly to grab at least broadsword money.
I mean, depending on the monster set, you could potentially walk out and come back in. Although that is very painful for a gold grind. And Aaron has found Hawksness. This could be very important.
Especially because now it means aaron2u2 has 2 shots of the sword. Granted, he also has 2 shots of the armor, and he has not been saving basically ever, I don't think. Magic keys are one of the murdery ones. aaron2u2 is going to see if he can murder back, but it's only going to be 2 swings, and he cannot.
Yeah, it looks like you're not going to be able to beat that thing until you get to Hurt More or Sleep. Assuming they are susceptible. That is a brutal spike tile.
Meanwhile, Big Slamoo and Quinn Patrick have the token. I have to imagine then it was the first chest in Mountain Cave, because Slamoo is now in Mountain Cave, and that's one location both of them have been the only ones to find. So, yeah, Mountain 1. So Slamoo is now in the driver's seat in terms of quest items and just items in general, because none of Erdrick's stuff aside from the token has been found, but still just has to overcome a fair bit of experience lead, because he's now in last place actually.
And that further narrows down what the coordinates have to be. Now, the coordinates are down to sword, death necklace, flute, and armor.
And even more than that, it tells Slamoo that armor has to be either on the coordinates or in Deep Grave. So I would, because I think that's the only place Slamoo has left to check that's not inside Sharlock, and obviously it can't be inside Sharlock because of the flags. So I would absolutely not be surprised to see Slamoo save and check the coordinates, and then I guess Hawksness too. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him do that. And then if armor is there, maybe dive Deep Grave, because that would also be another chance to get sword.
Shahali asking about armor and the Hawksness spike. Armor can be anywhere that is not Sharlock. So we're narrowing it down. It's either Overworld Search, it's Hawksness, or it's Deep Grave. I think that's all we have left. I honestly don't remember what the heck Aaron pulled from the Rimmeldar chest. I imagine it was nothing.
I saw at least one of the racer. I think DK was the first to check, and I think it was just like a torch or something. It's something absolutely worthless.
Yeah, just continuing the theme of like the easily gettable chests just being completely pointless, other than that key chest in the Stones Cave, which led to basically nothing.
Yeah. Basically, everything has been in Grave and Mountain so far.
And Quinn decides to upgrade to a hand axe at 46 minutes, while Aaron gets a level, and it's 1, 1, 14, and 10. So you get 10 MP, and you have just basically utility spells plus hurt.
On the upside, the double digits wasn't on the agility. On the downside, the double digits wasn't on the strength either.
Yeah, this seed is being pretty brutal. Like they still have no heal at 11. And the strength is, I mean, 58 strength at 11 is okay, but if you don't have hurt more and you're dealing with repelled enemies, this is kind of brutal.
In this flag set, it doesn't feel good, certainly. At this point, your AP is lower than your agility, so not exactly what you want to see. He is going to be counting in this direction now. I don't know that it can be in this direction, but I'm not sure if anyone has gone south and then west. So maybe it can be.
I honestly have no idea at this point. All I know is that, like, seeing that weak Druin Lord in the Swamp Cave, if I have a difficult count, I'm just gonna go to the Druin Lord and just wait for it to run away from me, and then just walk in and take Gwaelin out.
Yeah, the one thing is that I highly doubt aaron2u2 will do that because he really prides himself on counts a lot and likes the challenging ones, so I think he's going to see this as an opportunity. Meanwhile, Quinn Patrick does get into Grave and will manage to get the other two the other two quest items. There we go.
And the coordinates is the fairy flute. So now we know the armor has to be in Grave 4 or Grave 5.
Or Hawksness.
Or Hawksness, yes. Under the Magidrake, he would be pretty fitting, honestly. That'd be kind of like the Seed doing the Runners a solid, because that's like literally the last thing they're ever going to want to do with that monster there.
The downside now, though, is it's growing increasingly likely that Sword is again in Sharlock. It's only 3 possible locations it can run into, and really it's only 2 possible because one of them has to be armor. So it's not good odds.
I mean, honestly, that would be fitting to put the most valuable item for the flag set inside Sharlock. That just seems very on brand for Randomizer.
Certainly, it'll make for a good finals because it has so far. Curious what aaron2u2's gold stat is at, and it's not very high, which means he won't be able to get that broadsword anytime soon. So the longer Sword is MIA, the better situation Slamu is kind of in. Except he's checking this, which he already checked. Or no, he's going to the back shop. Okay.
This is a painful walk.
Yeah, little does he know Breckenary is actually about as close as Cole, just in the other direction.
And DK is now doing the Mountain Cave dive, so he has his token. And assuming he lives, he will get the Fighter's Ring and some money.
Oh, aaron2u2 finding this cave too. Oh, a cave too. I think it might be either Grave or Mountain. I'm not sure exactly where either of those were, because I only ever look when they're already in the cave. But either one would be really helpful for aaron2u2. It is Mountain, so that's a very good spot. We'll manage to get some extra gold. Potentially, again, getting that way to the broadsword. That's going to be... It hasn't been that big right now, because Slamu just isn't grinding. But when he does have to settle into a grind, if he's got the broadsword and no one else does, that's a potential huge advantage.
You know, there is a play that people could make, which is, it's pretty ridiculous on its face. But, like, let's say the armor is, in fact, in Deep Grave. Would you consider, if you were to pull it, to just immediately go and try to dive Sharlock for the sword? Because agility is really high. And you would be... like, there's no risk of running into, like, these annoying low attack power, high agility monsters because permanent repel is on. Like, if I were to unintentionally pull the armor from Deep Grave, I think I would just go straight to Sharlock and go for the sword and just hope.
Yeah, not having heals hurts, but the other advantage to that is that you get to see another Spike Tile. We know the Magiwyvern, the Magidrake is probably, with that attack power, probably not going to be a grind that's possible, really. Because, like, unless you get hurt more and it can be hurt more down easily, there's no real upside to trying to beat that without heal. Nobody has, I think, killed the Druid Lord yet, so we don't really know about that. But that's one Spike Tile in Sharlock that could have a good enemy to kill. So yeah, I kind of agree with that. That wouldn't be a bad play. It's a dangerous play, but you know, in this sort of flag set, you're gonna have to make some risky plays because the game isn't going to give you anything easy.
Well, I just saw Quinn kill a Spectre and get 242 experience for it. Now, we do know Spectres do hit pretty hard, so that grind isn't exactly reliable if you don't have heal or heal more. But, ooh boy. 242, even if it's a bad enemy, feels pretty good right now. That literally increased his experience by over 10%.
Yeah, and Slamu manages to find an Axe Knight that's worth a fair bit for one swing. I think he did 10 damage and got around like 80. That's pretty good, but he is also finding blue dragons in the zone, and I don't know what they are, but clearly he doesn't like them because he spent around 5 turns trying to run from one and failing most of them.
He's also on a 1 in 16 tile, and Axe Knights apparently rolled Demon Knight dodge rates.
Yeah, 88, it's really going to depend on the rest of the zone, because like you said, it is a lower encounter tile, and the Axe Knights apparently can dodge unless that one was getting lucky, which you never know.
Okay, it looks like the Spectres are pretty reliable 2-shots for Quinn, so yeah, I think Quinn has found his play. He's just gonna go back and forth to Cole, and he's just gonna feast off the Spectres, and he is going to overtake Aaron. He's gonna overtake Aaron's XP lead. Like, Aaron's had the XP lead for a very long time, and Quinn is about to pass him with this grind.
Yeah, it's rough because you have to go heal after like 2 of them, 3 of them. There's just no restoration yet. But like you said, there's nothing good in this seed so far, really. So this is the least bad thing we've seen in terms of efficiency for experience. So you got to take it.
Honestly, with how this seed has gone so far, I would be happy if the Spectre grind was just like kill 1 and then go to the town.
Yeah.
But Quinn sees a Magidrake and gets hit for 74. So, like, we knew the Magidrakes had like at least 120 attack power at the start. They actually have significantly more than that.
Yeah, that 51 might have been close to a min roll for them. They've been dealing more than 51 in every swing I've seen since. But now the agility is actually mattering enough where that's actually becoming more and more impressive, especially since they're still dealing in the 70s at this point.
I would estimate that the Magidrake's attack power is probably somewhere around 170. And we know that they have over 40 HP. So this is, given the fact that it is a spike tile enemy, this is pretty awful. Like, they're not going to be able to kill it without a crit. And even if they crit, they might not kill it. Like, we have no idea what its HP is. Like, its HP could have rolled 200.
And to mention in chat, Brian Williams saying Slimer going for the flute. The flute, I don't think, was actually on Second Continent. The flute was actually on First Continent. It was just, in a direction that many people haven't tried yet. Because it's down here and then to the west from here. So I think DK might be going for it the right way, but Slimu is just going through Swamp Cave.
And DK is still at the point where the 44 XP Star Wyverns are good enough to kill. Even though we're almost an hour in, that feels kind of deflating.
Yeah, it's slim pickings.
Also, Aaron and Quinn are tied in experience, but not for long, because Aaron just took a death to a blue dragon. Looks like he swung at it and did no damage. So Quinn is now in the experience lead.
Also has already traded in the harp, which, unless you're going to use it for money, which nobody aside from Slammer really has, that's a pretty good play.
Yeah, at this point, now that he's found his grind, there's literally no reason to ever use the harp again. I mean, hand axe is, it's not as good as a broadsword, but it's good enough.
DK saved before going for the search spot just in case it was armor, and then just resets out of the flute. Oh, how appropriate. Honestly, though, that in Chaos, that could be a big factor, honestly. It's rare, but sometimes you will get DL1 fights that that really just can't be beat without Fairy Water. And if that's the case, I mean, that actually could come back pretty huge, having that extra inventory slot.
Yeah, generally speaking, the Flute and Chaos is just completely useless. And Aaron is now playing the harp again. Now he is going to take swipes at the Wyverns. And they're a 2-shot kill, but only 33. And looking at level 12, let's see, it gave a little bit of strength. It gave a lot of HP, 20 HP, and 9 MP. Huh.
Yeah, this is maneuvering closer to go, but really it's just being that Magiwyvern, Magidraki, why do I keep saying that? Magidraki is going to be really hard without getting heal more. Oh, an 80! An 80 at 12!
Yeah, that would put its attack power like right around 180, 182, something like that. Like that's a that is really depressing to know that that's on the Hawksness spike, and there's a fair chance it's on top of something you want.
Yeah, this is gonna be tough because the other thing is, like at this point, most of our racers, except DK, really now know that the play is really just going to be Deep Grave and Hawksness Spike, and the problem is one of those is guarded by the Magiwyvern, but the other is guarded by just being a really long check, which you don't want to have happen if it's armor, right? Like that's just such a long walk, potentially through a lot of encounters if the zones rolled a bunch of enemies that aren't repelled, for having to reset out of it potentially. It is just rough.
And plus, not having outside. Like they still don't have outside. Like they're not learning any spells. Like level 12, and we still have the same spells we've had for like the past, I don't know, 20 minutes. I mean, it's hilarious if you're like in chat, but I would be just, as a runner, I don't know if I'd be particularly mad about this. I'd just be kind of laughing at how depressing it is, because it's just like, there's just nothing for you to do other than just hope and pray that you can find a valuable enemy somewhere. I mean, Quinn discovered the Spectres are very good, but not a long grind if you can't heal.
Yeah, and the other thing is that, like you just mentioned, you can't heal right now, which makes the grave dive even worse, really, because like there's two situations really. The upside, maybe Grave doesn't have anything that can really hurt you, and you can get down there relatively easy with Repel, and there's not any real danger that it's going to be a huge time waste because you die before the chests. That's great, but then you have to walk out because you don't have outside. The other option is there's an easy death warp. Great, you have an easy way to exit. The problem is then you have to get through that enemy, and in Sherlock and Chaos mobs, getting past enemies can be really tough.
Yeah, something we haven't really talked about much is the fact that, so the big differentiator between Chaos and Standard, other than the fact that the monsters can have basically anything stat-wise or ability-wise, it's the fact that the run mechanic in Chaos is very different. And it's based on where you are, so that whatever agility a monster has, if you see it on the overworld, it gets divided by 4. Like everything on the overworld's treated like it's a group factor 1 in the vanilla game parlance, which just, it divides the agility by 4, so it makes them a lot easier to run away from. And then once you enter the caves, that steps them up to group 2, which is, it multiplies their agility by 0.375, I believe. So it makes it harder to get away if they happen to have higher agility. And then once you go to Sherlock, it goes up to group 3, and then once you get to the bottom zone of Sherlock, it goes up to group 4. So like, if you run into anything in the bottom of Sherlock and Chaos, and it happened to roll big agility of like, say, 200, your odds of running away from it are really poor, even if you have high agility. Like, at this point, a 200 agility monster in the bottom of Sherlock, they'd be like something like 1 in 5 to get away from it, which is really not good.
And the other rub to that is, like, in a non-chaos seed, you know, if you're running into something, you know the stats, and you know, like, the enemies are relatively balanced. As far as I know, Chaos doesn't have any sort of, hey, let's make sure this is a balanced feature. If something wants to roll really high in agility and strength, it can, and there's just nothing you're going to be able to do about it. The odds are obviously lower that it does that, but, you know, it can happen.
Well, there's always something you can do about it, and that something is complain. You can always complain bitterly about things rolling ridiculous stats against you.
aaron2u2 can also complain about these NPCs, and sadly they will listen.
DK is in an epic fight with a skeleton, and he gets 96 experience from it, but... So the skeleton is one of those weird enemies in this seed. Like, obviously it had high agility, because DK was just poking it for 1 repeatedly. And then the skeleton's strength was also not good, because it was only hitting DK for 7.
Yeah, he has found a pretty solid grind here. I know he's killing one thing in this zone, which has 100 experience, and then that Drakima was around 60-something. The only problem is there are magic wyverns here, as can be said for most zones. There's also this blue dragon, which apparently Slamu wasn't fighting it because it deals a fair bit of damage, but it's the 108 enemy. Ooh, that's good information for DK that Slamu apparently doesn't have.
And Aaron is trying to grind in the top of Sharlock. He has officially reached the stage of the seed where he's basically saying, I have not found anything that is worthy of my time on the overworld, so please, game, could you show me something that's worth killing in Sharlock? And he only saw a slime. So unless he was getting very unlucky on the encounter rate, which is, of course, very possible, the top zone of Sharlock just might have rolled 4 very weak enemies plus a slime.
And the one thing I'm surprised at still is that I still don't know that anyone is actually, beyond DK trying some at earlier levels, I don't know that anyone has actually made a real play, and most of them I don't even think have checked that Swamp Spike. Which just feels really weird. Like, it's potentially, I mean, it probably isn't because this seed and also chaos, but like, that's potentially, if that's even a 80 experience mob that can be killed in like 3 hertz, 4 hertz maybe, or at least killed when you have hurt more relatively efficiently. That is honestly the grind in this seed so far. Like, it doesn't take much to be the grind.
Brian's asking, no one fought Swamp Spike? Well, Quinn rescued Gwalen.
Oh, he did. Oh,
I didn't even see it. Aaron went to the spike a long time ago and it ran away from him, so he knows that it's a weak monster of some sort, but he like threw a couple hertz at it or something. That wasn't enough. It might just not be on his radar at this point to return to. I mean, I'd personally try to go back and at least see if I could, now that I have some decent attack power, I'd see if I could try to maybe 1 or 2 shot it.
Yeah, the fact that Quinn, I had forgotten that he managed to kill it because I only saw him when he was rescuing the princess, but that he killed it and isn't going back means it's probably not good at all. But I think he's the only one who knows that, and that's a potential really big thing to leave on the table. Gonna try to get through this magic ribbon yet. Nobody's managed it so far, and it doesn't look like Quinn's going to. Yep.
Slimu did his count, and he got the disappointment. And a cluttered inventory spot.
Quinn Patrick also saw it via the princess. Not sure if he actually picked it up. It's in neither of their trackers. But yeah, it's not good. Oh, Slamu again trying that magic Reiki, and again getting just absolutely pummeled. Like,
yeah, I wouldn't even want that magic Reiki until I have sleep or hurt more. Like, it's just not worth throwing yourself at it.
Sleep, hurt more, at the very least heal more. Like, it wouldn't feel nice to do with heal more, but you could manipulate out the low swings. You've got enough HP where if it swings low, you can maybe survive with a bit more HP. But right now, that's obviously not achievable. You need HP and the heal more, and it just feels so bad. But again, it's probably just going to be armor, all told.
Now let's talk about these grinds. So Aaron has discovered the specters being valuable, and DK has found. Looks like he found Blue Dragon is worth 100 and something. So
yeah, and the Dream is worth 60.
So DK has finally found a grind that he likes. Quinn is just doing the thing that he's been doing for quite a while now, which is absolutely the thing you should be doing.
Yeah, it's DK's zone could end up being better, but it really depends on the other enemies that we haven't seen. Because so far, every time I look at him, he's either fighting a Blue Dragon or a Drakima, or running into a Magdwyvern. A Magidraki. But the Red Dragons in Quinn Patrick's zone are not terrible, but they're not good. They're multiple swings for like 30, so he's taking them, but he probably feels like he really doesn't want to. And the Spectres are worth it, definitely, but I mean, it does take 2, sometimes even 3, I think, swings from what I just saw on aaron2u2's side to kill one, and it's basically then only awarding like 120 to 90 experience a swing, I should say. So like, there's some stuff in that zone that isn't quite as good. The problem is just that Magidraki is just giving DK fits in that zone every time he runs into it.
Yeah, and Quinn Patrick is still getting sniped by them at level 13 too. So I think the Magidrakis must have rolled a fair bit of agility too to be run blocking on the overworld to this degree. And Grave 4, I believe, was just gold. So now we're going to get the Deep Grave check. And that's also gold. So now we know armor is confirmed to be Hawksness. Sword and Death Necklace are both in Sharlock. That is gross. That is absolutely gross. So if you want to do the Sharlock play for the sword, well, you're not going to be doing it until you gain some sort of heal spell, and we might not see them until 16. I mean, the flag set is heal and hurt before more, but you can roll them on the same level.
Yeah, it could be possible with herbs. If Slamu thinks he's behind, which we know he actually is pretty severely behind at this point. Like, none of these checks have really amounted to much. He hasn't ever found the sort of grind that everyone else has found, so he's just lagging behind and behind and behind more and more. But if he does feel behind, he could maybe go for that attempt at getting sword out, because it maybe will be worth it. That said, considering what we've seen people grinding on, I don't think it really is. I mean, again, I think I maybe saw aaron2u2 in a 3-swing Spectre fight, so maybe it lowers it down to 2 for sure. Maybe it gives you some one-shots. But, like, that's basically the only upside, really. It's not going to help you take on the Blue Dragons, because we've seen DK is actually hurting the Blue Dragons, so that's just the better option. It's not really going to help you fight the Drakimas, so there's just not a whole lot that it's really going to help you do.
And Brian in chat is saying, so Slamu knows it's armor and Hawks. Yes, if he paid attention to the flag set, yes, he knows armor is in Hawksness, and he also knows the rest of the runners don't know because they have not cleared Grave. I mean, they know it could be in Hawksness, but they haven't cleared Grave, so they don't know for certain yet. And that's because the armor in this flag set is forbidden from being in Sharlock, and the reason for that is because the people that created the flag sets for this tournament in their infinite wisdom wanted to slightly increase the chances of the armor rolling into the throne room.
Because with permanent repel, it's actually a much bigger issue than it would be ever in any other seed to have the armor be easily achievable. That said, Quinn Patrick has gotten sleep and managed to put the Magidraki asleep. He may be able to get through it.
It's rolled quite a bit of HP, apparently. So it's a good thing it's susceptible to sleep, because it probably rolled 100 hit points.
Oh, and he gets through it, and it's not worth it, but hey, he'll get the armor. The problem is now, he's got to still be able to grind with that armor.
Well, given the amount of damage that Spectres have been doing to him, I think he should be okay, at least for a level or two. And also, now that he has the armor and the extremely valuable sleep spell to try to get away from high agility mobs in Sharlock, I feel like the play for him is to dive Sharlock right now and get the sword.
100%, yeah.
Which is not something I would typically recommend when you don't have a heal spell, but with the armor, with this defense, with permanent repel dropping all the weak, annoying things that might block you otherwise, and having the defensive sleep spell at your disposal, I think it's worth a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. DK, meanwhile, has gotten into Mountain Cave. We'll manage to get the... Oh, no, that was Gravy. I thought he had already been in Mountain Cave, so I was confused for a moment, but he will manage to get the stones.
And now he's going to full clear Grave, and that will tell him armor is, in fact, in Hawksness. Let's see here. As far as XP goes, Aaron is just shy of 14. Quinn is actually 800 behind, although since they both know where the Spectre grind is, 800 XP isn't as much as you might think at this point. It's just 4 fights.
Yeah, and I mean, aaron2u2 still has to go for that armor. So that's, especially if the Magister he decides not to cooperate, because again, it could have some sleep resistance, and Quinn Patrick just got 2 good hits on it, on the sleep. But if it's harder to fight even with sleep still, than Quinn Patrick seemed to see it was, then that's easily enough time for Quinn Patrick to make up that experience gap.
Yeah, the low-key benefit of the armor here is that it makes Quinn's grind a fair bit more efficient due to the heal walking, and plus it dropped the damage range of the Spectres a little bit. I mean, plus 28 defense is a lot, but because of the damage formula of this game, you just instantly divide that by 2. And so the Spectres are still going to roll something like 15 to 30 against him. But the news of the day is when Aaron hit 14, he gained the heal spell. So I'm very curious, once Quinn hits 14 and gains the heal spell, will he consider the Sharlock dive to get the sword? Or will he just continue to sit and grind? I mean, either approach is fine at this point, I guess. But I would be very, very tempted to just dive Sharlock and go for the sword, and that way my grind becomes more efficient with the sword. Plus, I would have Spike Tile knowledge inside Sharlock, and I would also have full Sharlock knowledge on top of that. And Spectres might roll into Sharlock, too. They're a strong enemy.
And when you think about it, like right now, he's basically repelled down, I think, to the Spectres, the Magister keys, and the Knights in the zone. That's only one fight that he actually wants. If the Spike Tile in Sharlock is a Spectre, that's huge. That's basically speeding up your grind by, 2/3. That's immense if that is the case. So like, I definitely want to consider it if I'm one of these racers. And welcome in Nescardinality and a whole bunch of raiders. We are in the finals of the Winter League.
Yes, this is race 1 of a 2-part grand final for the Winter League tournament, where we race our atypical flag sets, and tonight's flag set is a special one. It has Chaos Monsters, it has Heal and Hurt Before More, and it has Permanent Repel. And the Permanent Repel is just reaping all kinds of havoc on the runners, as you'll notice that most of them do not have any defensive equipment whatsoever, because they don't want to lose the valuable monsters that they've been grinding. Now, the game has been conspiring against them this entire time by giving them tons and tons of agility on their level up, so they lost 2 valuable monsters fairly early on, and they've been suffering ever since.
While DK making up some exploration that he hadn't quite managed yet, he still had not actually managed to dive Tablet Cave.
And one of our trackers, RG, noting that DK running from a Spectre. Yeah, this is one of the things that can happen to you in Chaos. You see a monster fairly early on, it hits you pretty hard, and then you just file it away in your brain, just like stay away from this thing. And that would be to his detriment, since they are so valuable and they are actually killable for him right now that he has the stats to deal with them.
Yeah, the one thing hurting him is, again, I'm not sure how much he hasn't explored, but again, that was a dive to check the bottom of tablets. So if there's any locations like that he hasn't actually finished yet, that might contain sword or armor in his mind, then he's going to be in a situation where he thinks to himself, "Hey, I better check that spot before I check that mob." And with that try there, I think he's probably explored that. It's just unfortunate, finished exploring now. It's just unfortunate the enemy that he ran into that hits really hard was the Magidraki and not the good one.
Yeah, I think that does complete his exploration. I know he's cleared Mountain, he's cleared Grave, I think he's aware of Hawksness. He's definitely seen Cole. So yeah, I think that's all the checks for him.
J. Cooper suggesting maybe this week should have no hurt more. Right now, it basically wouldn't be a difference.
Yeah, literally this entire seed has been... Nope, we just don't have anything particularly useful at our disposal. Like a level 14 heal in a permanent repel seed where you don't want to get the armor at any point until you're ready to go, and we didn't get heal until 14. And I think sleep came at 13 too.
Yeah. In fact, we can actually tell exactly when it came. Well, not exactly when it came, but we can tell that it wasn't at 12 because DK doesn't have it yet. Meanwhile, even at 15, there's still 4 spells outstanding. So, like, a lot of stuff is just sitting at level 16 waiting.
I'm taking a glance at Aaron's stats. It's like he's got 86 strength at 15, 86 agility, 124 HP, 83 MP. Like, these are decent stats. I mean, they're not quite there with the sword, but it's getting there. Like, it's probably at least worth a check, I would say.
I mean, the other thing to consider is that DL1 and DL2 will also both be Chaos, so, like, honestly, you could be there with sword. I can't remember exactly how much is between broadsword and hand axe, but everyone else is sitting a hand axe, which means they're going to gain more than 20 off that sword yet. And like 120, mid 120s, high 120s is enough in Chaos if no matter what the MP is, as long as the Dragonlord 2 form rolled bad and Dragonlord 1 form isn't the final boss. So I would definitely be considering it at level 15, just going for that sword and trying to get the level on the way.
And from the metagaming side of things, like, I feel like everybody would have a justifiable argument for doing that aggressive play, because I don't feel like the seed has gone, like, now we know everything. Like, we've seen what all the runners are doing. It's like we can say that, okay, things have been going pretty well for Aaron getting the axe relatively early. Things have been going pretty well for Quinn because he found the Spectre grind first. But if you're running the seed and you've been suffering for this length of time, and like, I feel like it doesn't feel that great no matter which runner you are in this race, like, from their perspective. So I feel like there'd be a strong argument to be made to, like, say, all right, if my attack power is in the high 120s, I've got this agility, I've got this HP, I think I should go for it. Like, I feel like that'd be totally defensible. And you just never know with Chaos. Like, Dragonlord 1 could roll like 60 hit points. You could potentially 1 or 2 shot him. And then Dragonlord 2 could roll sleep, and you could just throw a stop spell, land it, and like Dragonlord Phase 2 could have 50% sleep and waste a bunch of time casting it, and then you could just slice through him no matter what his HP is. So it's like, as long as the spike tile isn't terrible, as long as the first phase isn't terrible, like, this is definitely winnable at 15 or whatever 16 brings, but I would say it's definitely winnable, like, right now at level 15, if they had heal more, which they don't. But at 16, it's certainly go, I would say.
Yeah, it's just the other thing to consider is that like this entire tournament has been a smorgasbord of who's who. I think this is Quinn Patrick's first Winter League, maybe, or I think it might be his first, but at most it's his second, and he's in the finals. So like it's been deep as heck this entire winter tournament. But this is the finals. If there's any place you want to maybe go out on your shield, try to be aggressive because you know everyone else is going to be really, really good. This is certainly a race you might want to do that in, because like right now DK, Slamu are like really far behind. You can't count on that, especially in a chaos race. Like there's just so much difficulty potentially in finishing this off that like if you have to make a aggressive play to find information out to get the sword early to maybe speed up the grind, or to to get information that maybe you need Fairy Water to even get through DL1, like it's potentially very valuable.
Yeah, I would say Quinn has played very well all tournament. Like I went against him in my weakest flag set, which is Stair Shuffle. He has played well all tournament. He does not show any signs of being a rookie in this game. Like he's playing like a veteran would, and he found the grind. And so obviously a big part of Rando is luck. We all know that. Like, go the right way, don't die, find the grind, like all these things that we say over and over again. Just crit. Like luck is a big part of it, sure. But yes. Luck is a big part of it, but the other part of it, the thing that separates people who do well and people who do less well, is the people who do well know how to take advantage when they get the luck. They get the luck and they make the decisions that take full advantage of it. And recognizing a good grind and knowing to stay on it is a whole part of that. And we have 16, which is 1, 1, 10, and 1. And then we get outside heal more, hurt more, so of course. But yeah, 1 attack power. The 10 HP is nice. I mean, it does give you that. It does give you that option. It does give you that temptation to put on the Death Necklace if you want to. If the Dragon Lord's first phase isn't doing much to you, so that is now an option. And we know that the Death Necklace is sitting in Charlock along with the sword.
And this is a good go by aaron2u2. I think he's maybe going for Fairy Water right now. And that's something I feel a lot of people maybe don't do in this situation with Permanent Repel on. But again, like, it could be literally the only way to damage DO1. You don't know. So like, getting full Fairy Water here is actually potentially really key. Or he's going to buy a shield finally, is what he's doing. Well, hopefully he buys Fairy Water. Because he certainly can't buy a shield.
Well, hopefully he goes to Hawksness, because that's where the armor is.
Oh, wait, yeah. I don't know that he's actually been down here, actually, maybe. Has he?
Well, I know he's been to Hawksness, because I think I saw him die to the Magidrakey ages ago. So hopefully he remembers that Hawksness is the armor. Has Aaron full cleared Grave yet?
I don't know that either. I feel like maybe aaron2u2 skipped some various things in here. It's hard to say. Yeah, Shahali confirming he has not checked Deep Grave. So this is actually, that may have been an overgrind for aaron2u2, depending on DL1 and 2, of course. But it could be that while he's finishing all this homework, Quinn Patrick is getting ready to go for the win.
Well, it's technically not an overgrind since he had to get 16 anyway, but
yeah, but I mean, he might run into good mobs along the way now that he
Yeah, but I would say, like, with the equipment improvement and all that, he's probably not going to see much of anything from here on out, except for that really annoying match. Okay, 198 attack power. So his attack power is a bit higher than I thought it was. I thought it was in like the low 180s, but whatever. It's like when your attack power is like 180 or higher, like that's just awful, especially when they roll triple-digit HP. But the one saving grace there is you see that 1 in 16 sleep resist and only 19 defense.
With hurt more, I think I would actually consider double hurt mooring. just because running from them hasn't been easy. And it turns out they're worth 75, which isn't nothing.
I think Quinn wanted a flame sword, and then now he realizes that. So this is a subtle, tricky thing about this week, is that in previous iterations of the Chaos flags in this tournament, we've had random shop prices, so you could just completely, you know, you could find a town and just blow up the seed immediately because, like, oh, Silver Shield, 5 gold, Magic Armor, 2 gold, Flame Sword, 50 gold. We have vanilla prices this week.
Yeah, I think he was actually looking for that large shield. Obviously, he and both aaron2u2 hadn't even had a shield yet. So with Quinn, I think probably getting ready to... Yeah, he's selling stuff. He's getting ready for a go. And doing the smart play of clearing his inventory for some fairy water. So he was almost certainly just getting that large shield ready to go.
I saw him scroll up to that flame sword.
Well,
you cannot fool me. I saw him scroll up to that flame sword.
Look,
I know he wanted that upgrade.
The heart wants what the heart wants, okay?
I mean, it's not wrong. It's like one of the strats that has worked quite a bit in the past is like get the flame sword and then just skip looking for Erdrick's sword in Chaos. Like that's worked plenty of times, but this seed, the stats aren't quite there to justify that one.
And DK is now going to try the check into Sharlock, as aaron2u2 did, and find nothing and just immediately return.
And now we have Quinn putting down the bridge. Quinn is making a go for this at 16 while Aaron grinds. Aaron wants insurance, I imagine. He knows full well. So like this is defensible either way. It's like with Chaos, you just don't know. You could run into a terrible spike. You could run into a terrible DL1. And with a full Sharlock dive, you get punished if you fail at the end of the dive pretty severely. So I can see why you would want a little insurance here, but at the same time, my brain says Chaos is evil either way, and like typically one level isn't going to make that big of a difference unless you get a gigantic stat gain. Like it's just not going to matter all that much. It's going to be a marginal thing. And if there's something that's super terrible, like if you're getting +5 attack power, something super terrible is going to kill you either way.
Yeah, this is the one thing where like if Quinn Patrick gets the sword and doesn't get any more levels, he's at like 129, I believe. And that's usually you need 13 heal mores for. But at the same time, it could roll low HP. It could roll a spell like sleep or heal. And if that's the case, all of a sudden you don't need those 13 heal mores anymore. And maybe 11 is good enough, or I guess 10 is good enough is how many he has. So like, this is potentially, and a lot's going to depend on the spike tile, the DL1, and DL2 itself, go level. And like, I feel like it's a lot better to gamble on that potential go level than gamble on another level, especially when it's not Chaos Experience. If it's Chaos Experience, you know, maybe the next level is 1,000 away. And it's pretty easy to find out if things are willing to hit you for as much as the Magic Drakey or the Spectre are. But it's a long way away. So this is a really risky gamble for both of them. But I think I like Quinn's a lot more.
So I'd like to point out that Quinn skipped the rest of the treasury. He had no interest in pulling the death necklace. And I should also point out that the spike tile is another Magic Drakey, which just clocked him for 73.
Luckily, he did then get the heal off, the sleep off. I don't know if you knew about that before going into the fight, but he will get there. Has full herbs, is in as good a shape as he was coming down. So it's really just going to depend on this DL1 fight, on this DL2 fight.
And by the way, the Sharlock dive was basically free. Like, I don't know if I saw any enemies.
Yeah, it was. I think I saw a couple, but not many. Meanwhile, aaron2u2 I think maybe got 17. High Spirit's mentioning 17 wasn't much.
And DL1 is just spamming stop spell over and over again. Apparently he's 75% stop spell, and he's down in 4 hits. So here we go, guys. DL2.
Oh yeah, 1 AP on 17. This is potentially backfiring hugely on aaron2u2 if this DL2 is fightable.
Well, Quinn missed his opening stop spell.
Getting a fair few breaths, even without the opening stop spell, and even losing the heal more off it. He's still in decent shape, especially with the fairy water.
I think he's done 32 so far, and we're not seeing sleep come out from the Dragon Lord. So I believe the only thing we have to worry about now is heal.
Yeah, heal, and if you're Quinn Patrick, you're also hoping, aside from maybe the heal, you're also hoping that it just has low HP. It can roll, I forget the minimum range, but it's in the like low 100s, I believe, right? Maybe like 130, something.
It can roll 100 to 230.
Okay, so all the way to 100, yeah. So it doesn't feel good with these rolls so far, but it's still very much in range, and like this is the part where you just you see what it is. You see if it has the heal. If it has the heal, you come right back, I think, potentially. Is if you saw the heal, you got it in a heal range. But if he doesn't see anything and it just kills him eventually after he runs out of resources, then he knows he's going to need a lot more.
Well, any of these swings could potentially win. I believe he's up to 114 right now.
Probably not liking all the 7s he's seeing.
His fairy waters rolled pretty well. I think that was 155, so DL2 rolled lower end HP, and Quinn Patrick will take game 1 of the grand finals, and he will be in the driver's seat to potentially win the Winter League. So get your GGs out, guys. Very well done by Quinn.
Other thing we're going to have to watch, how fast does aaron2u2 bolt from this grind when he sees Quinn finish? Well, he got the level, so I mean, I guess depending on what the level is, not anything, but I mean, I gotta imagine even with that 14, he's thinking, yeah, he's leaving immediately.
Yeah, this is clearly for Aaron. This is like, all right. I think I overstayed my welcome on the grind a bit too much. And welcome into the booth, winner of the race, Quinn Patrick. How did you feel about that, in all honesty, awful seed that gave you nothing for like an hour?
Not good for most of it. I thought I had no shot on that Dragon Lord, and I cannot believe I keep getting away with this. Wow.
I mean, I think both Beta and I thought it was the right move. aaron2u2 decided not to do that and to go to 18, and the extra 2 levels provide him with a grand total of 2 more AP and basically nothing else aside from MP. Meanwhile, Slamu and DK were just really far behind on finding that Spectre grind, and so really far behind in experience. So it was a really good play.
I thought for sure someone had something better than the Spectre. That felt horrible. Walking around on that desert looking for one thing. I thought if I die and I go out, I'm going to go and try to hurt more on the Magidraki, because they give 75, but at least they're consistent.
Yeah, there was literally nothing better. I think in the early going, like, Warlocks were the good thing, and then, unfortunately, you guys just got those stupid agility gains with the level up, so that they just completely dropped out of the equation. Yeah, this seed was just not providing you with very many grind options throughout. Like, the very early going, you had a few things, and then they went away, and then you were all just struggling. Like, you were taking, like, I think it was like 44 experienced slimes and things like that for a very long time, and we had a couple runners playing the harp. The harp had a bunch of useless enemies in it, but it also had a golem, which gave like 73, but it was like a 1 in 5, so eh. But yeah, it was just a suffer fest for all of you, and clearly the key to the seed, well, at least early the key to the seed, which I thought would be the key to the seed, was like Aaron was the first to get to coal and get the hand axe. Like, he still had money while everybody else was dying repeatedly. But you somehow kept pretty good pace with him. Like, you were within striking distance of his experience for a very long time. And then he kind of gained a bit of a lead on you, but then you discovered the Spectre Zone. And then, like, once I saw you discover the Spectre Zone and get that 242 and realize that it was actually beatable, it's like, in my mind, I'm like, all right, you're gonna overtake him, and this is gonna swing. And it did. And then you made the play on 16, which I thought was totally right, which is just like, this is good enough. It's chaos. Like, you might get easy Sharlock, you might get easy Dragon Lords, and it's worth a shot to just go for it, because if it's free, you win. And that's exactly what happened. Like, I don't know if you saw anything. Did you see anything in Sharlock at all?
I saw a slime on the top floor and ran away from it. That was it.
So literally one enemy. Literally one enemy. Wow.
Yeah, insanely free Sharlock. I straight up, like, blundered by just grabbing the sword and leaving the armory and not looking for the death necklace. I realized when I got there, I was like, oh my god, if I had the death necklace, this would be much better. But it looks like it wasn't there anyway. Aaron just searched it.
As we just found out, death necklace has to be on judge's table, so...
Okay, yeah, I never took bottom of grave, so it was either that or bottom of grave.
Yeah, in real time, I was surprised you didn't continue digging the treasury, at least in Sharlock, to see if the death necklace was sitting there, because, like, the Dragon Lord's first form, like, generally, like, the meta in Chaos, of course, is like, you generally don't put on the death necklace to win because it's so risky, but the one scenario where you definitely would is if your attack power is, like, in the 120s or something like that, and DL1 is basically free. And we actually saw DL1 attack Aaron, but it only hit him for 13. So this DL1 is about as weak and worthless as a Chaos DL1 could ever be.
Yeah, my rolls on the fairy water were incredible. I got like a 15 and 2 16s. Like, doesn't get much better than that. I actually counted out the damage. I counted 141, although I might not have added the last swing on my calculator.
I had you at 155. So,
okay,
yeah.
that's pretty lucky, because, I mean, the middle of the range is probably, like, I don't know what it is, but like 180.
Dead center would be 165. DL2 rolls from 100 to 230.
165. Okay, yeah, so it was a little bit lucky for him to be that weak. I missed the stop spell, and I was just like, forget it. I'm not going to beat him here anyway. Like, if he has sleep, I might as well just see it. But you know what? It worked out anyway.
Yeah, if he did have sleep, I mean, you probably would have seen it pretty quickly. It's like after like 5 rounds of combat, if you're not seeing it, you're just not going to see it. I mean, and if you had seen heal on the back end, that probably would have just been a scenario where you just, like, immediately come back and just hope you land stop spell, knowing that the heal is coming.
What was the thought process with the armor? Did anyone like find it and then reset, or find it and sell it and get it again? Or because I was afraid that after I got it, I wouldn't be able to see the Spectre anymore, but it turned out that I could, fortunately.
Nobody could get that past that mandatory key easily, since sleep was so late into it. It was basically, I think you were still the first to armor, and like 2 of our racers still don't even have it. So it wasn't a situation.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Yeah, Aaron is the only other one who got the armor. Yeah, that was a tough one. I was kind of worried that when you get a tough seed, you wonder like is the luck that I'm getting that. So a lot of times, like, whether a seed is good or bad really just like depends on who played it, and you just like get really bad luck in a seed and it's like, oh, that was a horrible seed, and then someone else does it, no problem. I won a weekly race once in like an hour 58 or something like that, and the next fastest was like 209, and I was like, that seed wasn't that bad. But like no other race seed that I've ever seen in Standard Flags has a winning time of 209. I mean, that's not true, but that's like a horrible winning time, but to me it didn't feel that bad. So I was there playing, and I thought, am I just like the really unlucky one who's getting bodied? Or is this seed actually just like this? Or is there some 300 XP enemy that I missed? But it looks like Aaron wrapped it up there.
Yeah, get your GGs out in chat. aaron2u2 was a second. Keeping in mind, this is just game 1 of the 2-game set of the grand finals, so nobody is out of it yet, although obviously finishing 4th puts you really, really behind the 8 ball.
Man, three straight wins now. 1 more win gets me the championship. I am very thankful that no part of my name can be easily made into a wordplay with choke.
Well, I mean, speaking from experience, winning the first race of the grand final does not quite get you there. So just bear that in mind, please.
Yeah, doing the math, that's absolutely true. Because I mean, a win next week guarantees it, but anything less than a win is a really precarious position. I might even practice the tiebreaker flag set a little bit and make sure I know how to play that, just in case.
Just luck your way through it. It's the way it's done in tiebreaker. I mean, come on. I mean, if you really want chaos as a viewer, what you want in game 2 is you want Quinn to finish last, you want DK to finish first, and you want Aaron to finish second again. That would lead to 3 runners sitting at 6 points. And you'd have a 3-way tiebreaker. Also, aaron2u2, thank you for the raid.
Does my audio sound better than last week? Because something went wrong with my audio setup last week and it sounded horrible.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Okay, just making sure.
And Slammy will be putting the bridge down and going for the win at 16, just as Quinn Patrick did. Meanwhile, DK is grinding right outside of it. I'm not sure exactly what all is. Oh, okay, this is just the same zone as earlier, I guess, except in a bit of a nicer situation, actually. Position.
I'm seeing some puns on my name. Nobody's pointed out that you can't say Quinn without win. But I am saying I like the victory is Quinn-evitable.
Yeah, that's my favorite. I've seen that all throughout the night.
Man, that's so cool. I've never won at anything before, man. This is pretty nice.
Just bear in mind that in part 2, the flags get really weird. And welcome to the booth, aaron2u2, our 2nd place finisher, GG's. What were your thoughts on that? Well, let's be honest, fairly awful seed for at least the first 60 minutes.
I'm really thankful that I fought to check those Spectres, although I have a feeling I wasn't the first. And GG, Quinn.
Yeah, thanks, GG Aaron. That was quite a seed. That was not easy for me either.
Yeah, the Spectres, you were the 2nd to check them, I believe, a bit after Quinn. The big decider, though, was just the going at level 18 versus level 16. Quinn took a much riskier gamble on seeing if the Chaos DL1, DL2 would be kind.
Did everyone just get quiet?
I hear you fine. I hear Quinn fine.
Yeah, the audio is fine for me.
Can you hear us, Aaron? Oh no, he's fading away.
No, I'm talking. I didn't hear you guys. Everyone went quiet.
Can
Do you hear us now?
Yes. Hi, Gigi. I hope you heard me the first time.
But yeah, as I was saying, you were the second to check the specters, and Quinn was the first. But one of the big deciders was just the go level. You took 2 more levels to get to 18, while Quinn gambled on DL1 and DL2 being a bit more kind and went on 16.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really feel comfortable at 16, and I don't remember 17 being anything special. So I think a lot of that was I didn't feel like I was going to be early to the specters. I can kind of tell that DK apparently either hasn't found them or just found them over by Sharlock, which seems to be the nature of this race. I think it's pretty much just who got to the specters in order.
Yeah, he found them last, although I think he actually then decided to walk over here for something and then saw they were in this zone too, because he did find them in another zone, but decided this zone was a bit more close to Sharlock and a good setup.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter either place. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if I would have went. That gap feels like about 2 levels worth of grinding, so I'll have to watch it back and see how bad I feel about it.
Now, my philosophy is that with Chaos enemies, especially with Sword being in Charlock, like, going to fight the Dragon Lord, I didn't really feel like I was going to beat the Dragon Lord. I thought I have, like, an outside shot, so I loaded up on Fairy Water just in case. But I view that as, like, an information gathering mission, right? Because, like, if DL2 turns out to have sleep or heal or something, or if DL1 has, 200 agility, it helps a lot on the second go to know that. And it's not like, then there's a very high chance that everyone's going to take at least 1 death to that. So going down on the information gathering mission, to me, that wasn't like a gamble. That was just, the play that seemed right, get that sword and everything.
Yeah, maybe it's because I never checked Deep Grave, but I was less confident. I found the sword first, and I still checked the chest because, the Death Necklace, I'm always worried about DL1 and Chaos, so... oh yeah, DL1 and DL2 Breath, I didn't see that, I just saw Stop Spells.
50%? Yeah, I only saw Stop Spells. Wow, that's a lucky break.
I think the way that math works is that it's the 75 stop spell is 75%, and then the 50% DL2 is half of the remaining quarter. So it would be like 1 in 8.
Yeah, it really lowers the chance when you've got another ability at 75. Meanwhile, he did get in here with much less resources. I'm not sure if he has Fairy Water, but this could be a lost fight for him already, because it doesn't feel like he has enough to maybe get through it.
He started the fight with ADMP, but he opened with a sleep spell. And then he cast Stop Spell and missed. So he missed both of those spells.
That's why his MP vanished a bit faster than I thought it would.
Does he have Fairy Water?
If he does, he hasn't been going to it, so I don't think he does. And that really makes this a dangerous fight. It's still potentially doable, but he really needs good rolls. And the downside for him is if he tries at 16 and fails, he's not going to see any... He's not going to see sleep, he's not going to see heal. He will probably then just go all the way to 17, probably even 18. And he takes a risky swing and dies with 3 hero mores left. That is oof.
Brian Williams is pointing out that if he's a real heads-up play he could do is grind Fairy Waters in the treasury, but it looks like he didn't think of that.
Yeah, that's
a big brain play if you come up with that.
That is the 1000 IQ play that just it's always there, but it's one of those plays that just you almost never have the chance to do that, so it's hard to remember it.
I was in the training room channel with Brian Williams last night talking about this flag set, and I had been playing Practice Seeds, and I had been noticing that there'd be like a weak enemy, like a noodle enemy from Zone 0 that I was continuing to encounter even as my agility got really high. And I assumed that there was like some special clause that allows the noodle to continue appearing even after your agility is high. And so I went into the training room about it, and Brian Williams explained what was actually happening there, which is that when an enemy in Chaos, when the encounter zone is generated, when it creates the noodle enemy, he could explain it better. When it creates the noodle enemy, it takes like an already existing enemy and lowers its attack power to 10, but there's a separate table that it uses to look up for repel, and it doesn't lower the attack power there. So you can continue to encounter like an enemy that originally had high attack but now has low attack. It doesn't look like it happened in this seed, but it happened in like 2 of my practice seeds in a row. Just an interesting. I'm always learning new stuff about this game. I didn't know that till last night.
Yeah,
Even I didn't know that.
It's so very esoteric. Meanwhile, Slamu is going into Sharlock again. I don't think he picked up Fairy Water again, though, and DK has now hit 16, so if he does have Fairy Water, he's in a really good position to win it if Slamu doesn't manage this dive.
Yeah, DK, it almost looked like he might have been thinking about 17, but maybe he saw, oh, there's already 2 people done, it's probably doable sooner than that. But if he does go for 17, he won't get much. And now he's healing, so he might have changed his mind.
Big Slimu is actually seeing enemies on his dive. He's still getting slimes. Saw Droll Magi, which put him to sleep. DK is now in Sharlock. Apparently DK doesn't have a shield either, although looks like Slimu picked up a large at some point now. So Slimu has a clear lead here, but since he's going to Judge's table to get the Death Necklace, this could tighten up a fair bit.
In practicing for no numbers, I had gotten in the habit of just bringing Fairy Water anyway. It's just good to have.
I don't know what that dive was for DK. He walked in, didn't use any resources, then seemingly decided to outside.
Maybe he forgot to buy herbs. It looks like he's heading toward Cantlin, though, so maybe Fairy Waters is what he has in mind.
Yeah, it must be Fairy Waters, because he was in Garenham, so if he were just after herbs, he knows Garenham is a bit closer. But yeah, I guess he decided Fairy Water is probably a good strategy here, which, as we know, it might be what makes it winnable on 16. It might be possible with the Death Necklace, but it's going to be tight.
He's going to the bottom shop there to sell. That's an interesting... I've never done that. Interesting play. I guess it's pretty much the same, but I like to do my selling. Oh, and he talks to the radish guy. Very sporting from DK.
Gotta verify.
Well, the bottom shop is technically faster if you heal first, but you have to do that, which I think he needs to do too. So I'm not sure about his routing, but it might not matter here since Slamu's all the way down again.
Slamu's he doesn't have Fairy Water. It's going to be a heavy lift.
Well, he grabbed the Death Necklace. He puts that sucker on. He's fine.
Oh, it's not lit up on the tracker. Yeah, there it is.
At least I assume he did. You guys were pretty convinced that's where it was. Like I said, I never checked Deep Grave, so I wasn't 100% sure. If I was, I might have actually checked that first, but I don't know. That location always feels bad to me. Like, there's no scenario where I'm like, oh yeah, let's do that first. That's going to feel great. Yeah,
I've been kind of recently, in my recent practice seeds, I'd really been in favor of just doing the grave dive. Because, if it's Erdrick's sword, you're ahead instantly. But since outside didn't come until 16, doing any sort of big dive felt bad.
So he's going to be putting on that Death Necklace. That'll bring him up to the 139, I believe.
Yeah, if he doesn't try to stop spell, I think he's got it.
Does have enough for a stop spell without losing anything, although he would obviously lose the turn. But he did get fairly deep into the other fight.
The thing about Slamoo is he could have died to that Magidrake. That Magidrake woke up and he opted not to cast Sleep again. He swung at it. And if he had rolled low, the Magidrake could have survived and finished him off because it hit him for over 70 damage on that first hit.
Yeah, and he's in good shape, but it's still not free and clear. The lower HP means that he is in danger of getting down to low HP after a couple hard swings or breaths, and into a situation where if he has a suboptimal heal, he might either lose a swing or have to decide to swing on a risky HP total.
He's got 2 19s in a row, though, so it's looking pretty good. Brian Williams says 100% lock if he skips stop spell.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see what his hit points were exactly, but they were between 139 and 150. So, rolled a little bit low for standard, and it was probably +2 coming into this, I think.
Yeah, another 19. It feels very secure now as long as he doesn't miss menu.
There we go.
146 apparently, so it's a bit on the light side. Yep.
Chaos taketh away, but sometimes chaos give, and this time chaos giveth a pretty easy DL1 and DL2 fight.
To be honest, it kind of owed them that after what it was doing earlier on. And everybody get your GGs out for Big Slamoo, who will be finishing 3rd in this race and will get 2 points.
Yeah, DK will now finish 4th. Wow, I'm trying to move DK down another slot. He will finish 4th. Does put him in a really bad situation going into the second race, but, anything is possible.
Well, honestly, 3rd or 4th is a must-win in Game 2. So
yeah,
I don't really consider the 2 spots to be any different, really.
True. Well, and welcome into the booth, Big Slamoo, our 3rd place finisher. How does it feel, Slamoo? GG.
Oh, that feels horrendous, but it's over, so that's the good part. I was so out of my element there. I just I usually permanent repel is kind of my the one thing I feel real good about, and I just flailed for so long in the middle of that seed.
Yeah, there just wasn't really a lot of good options. You found the only good option really for grinding a bit later than aaron2u2 and Quinn Patrick in the Spectre that was hitting high, but also I think the only enemy we saw worth even close to 200 or more.
Yeah, I figured. I didn't know if there was anything else out there, but it was basically, perfect knowledge of the seed. The seed's like a 45-minute seed. It's just find the Spectre, and apparently I found the worst of the 2 Spectre zones, or unless I just happened to get lucky on that secondary grind, because it felt like there were the 2 zones of Spectres, and the second one didn't have the Magidrakes.
I only found 1 Spectre zone, and it did have Magidrakes, but I'm pretty sure it only had 1 Spectre on it. I didn't even really care about the Magidrakes. The only thing that made it better would be if there were 2 Spectres. And GG Slamoo.
Thanks, GG to you. It's funny, it's been a while since somebody's finished a race, and I don't have the armor or the rainbow drop. So that doesn't feel very good when you flash up, and I'm like, okay, we're in trouble.
Yep, fairy water and a prayer was my strategy. I did not have Death Necklace. I was level 16, no Death Necklace.
I also, obviously you saw it because you've been sitting around waiting for me for the last 20 minutes, but yeah, the first go around, my brain just fried and I cast Sleep instead of Stop Spell, but apparently I should have just swung away because it would have been probably close to enough.
You've been watching me too much, haven't you, Slamoo?
I don't even know. It's funny. I'm like, I had some free time last night. I'm like, I'm going to practice a little bit. I load up a seed. First chest in the throne room is armor. I closed the game and then walked away. I'm like, okay, I'm not practicing this anymore.
And DK is probably forfeiting his actual finish because he's resorting to meme strategies. So far, it has not worked out. Just cannot get that sleep to land, which is expected.
The ultimate way to bring it full circle would be to press A. I'm talking to the Dragon Lord, but I guess you should save that for next week. So it's truly the bookends of the league. Except, of course, he's going to win next week.
And with that loss, DK will forfeit. That sets everything up for the second week.
Yeah, it's tough because I'm like first or second I would have felt fine heading into the second one, heading into this other one. Of the two, I felt way more comfortable with this one. You throw on all this stair shuffle and shuffled and rotated dungeons, and my brain just explodes. So here's hoping that I can squeeze something out here without controlling my destiny. But Quinn and Aaron, you guys are making it rough on me.
Yeah, honestly, is when I got to also GG Slamu. When I got to the Spectre, my first thought was, oh, Slamu's been here forever and he's gonna win. So the fact that I actually somehow killed the thing before you is super surprising to me, and I'm gonna have to watch this to see what happened.
I earmarked the Spectre. It was starred on my sheet. If I saw you, you're not insane, but I can't kill you yet. And I didn't come back for way too long.
Yeah, you actually ran into one we noted on the way to one of the trading caves, I think. Or no, it was Tablet. But you hadn't no Tablet yet, so that kind of cost you because it seemed like maybe you were trying to avoid fighting it at that point to make sure you got to the cave, and it turns out the cave had nothing really.
Yeah, I felt really good about was it south of Mountain? I found that little Axonite zone, and that was a little treasure in the desert, but nothing else worked out. Also, hey DK, GG's.
Yeah, I quit playing about 20 minutes in, and then just kind of just wrote it out for the rest of the time. I was just going to sit there for the end, but then I was like, yeah, after taking a quick break, getting a little something to drink and running to the restroom, I was like, what the hell? I'll go try and sleep the Dragon Lord. And that's when I finally found the Spectre. That was at past level 14, I believe.
Yeah, it was rough. Your zone that you were in for a while that had the blue dragons and one of the good enemy, I can't remember, that was like 60 something, seemed decent. But obviously there was only really seemingly one good guy in the entire seed, and decent wasn't quite it.
Yeah, I think the big issue with this is if you get gold to a town, you get a great start. I wasn't that concerned initially. I was like, surely there will be gold somewhere. And I think the first 9 chests I opened was no gold. So it took 52 minutes until I got to a place that had gold. I think it was Mountain, maybe. Yeah, it was the 5th chest in Mountain had gold.
Wow. Yeah, I think I bought a hand axe, not sort of with the starting money. I think I died twice, but I kept running into that metal slime with like 500 gold or something, so it kind of didn't matter.
Yeah, see, I never found anything. I never found an enemy that gave gold. Like the 5th time I went in the swamp cave is when I saw a skeleton that gave 96 and was down in 1 hurt. Until then, it was just like 50,000 star wyverns. So at that point, it's like, and if you play this enough like I have, you just know. Like I knew as soon as that happened, it was done. Like it's one of those bad feelings. It's so early, you already know it's over. But yeah, it was still interesting.
Yeah, there was an interesting choice there for Slamu. You were the only one to really go deep on trying to use the silver harp, and managed to find the metal slimes in that pool, and I think you rode that all the way to getting a broadsword.
Yeah, it was silver harp for broadsword. And funny, in the meantime, while I was doing that, I realized that the silver harp also had the golem in it, and that was my best XP grind at the time too. So I sat and harped one step outside of Cantland for about 10 minutes.
Man, I think my my grind until I found the specters, which was like at level 13 or something, was the north zone above Fantasia, where I was fighting Drolls for like 43 experience. And then when I got stop spells, I was fighting Drolls and Demon Knights, and eventually got enough strength to fight the Wyverns too. So it was a whole bunch of 30, 40, 50 experience enemies.
Which
Yeah,
actually
I
was
was-
the best grind in the seed.
I was
until the-
swinging at like the wizards and the red dragons, giving like 25, and I was like, man, this is bad. That was before I saw the specter, but it was like, it's something. It's 2 digits. I'll take it.
I mean, I killed double-digit knights, and they gave 10 experience. So
10
you were
knights
taking whatever you
10.
could get.
It was not okay. I did one practice seed where there was nothing outside of Charlock. There was like a Draki and an Axe Knight inside Charlock. I had to go to level 20. It took 2.5 hours. They were giving they were giving like 100 and something.
See, that's the
That
problem.
was-
Is you
that
guys,
was
you
the
guys
only grind.
practiced. I didn't know
I
we
did
were not
practice.
supposed to practice this. That's why you guys are so good at it.
Well, if you guys haven't practiced the stair shuffled rotated dungeon rooms, then I've got a really good shot.
I promise you, I have not, and I will not.
That's like all I practiced going into week 6, and it turned out that that's what we got in week 6. So hopefully, I mean, I'll play a couple seeds tomorrow, and hopefully it'll come back to me, and I'll be able to remember what all the rooms look like in various states of rotation, and we can hope that Radiant comes before level 16.
I'll take heal before 14 next week too.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna ask for. It's just like a heal spell. I'm not asking for much.
Yeah, heal on 14, heal more, and hurt more on 16. I like gave up on buying herbs at one point, and I would just like go into the desert, kill one specter, go to cold to heal, or get sneak attacked by a Magidraki or something and die, and then try again, get one more specter, and that was like my tactic for a while.
I kind of want to load up the seed, like, go back to the thing and just uncheck heal and hurt before more and see, because I'm pretty sure that doesn't change. I mean, it changes the checksum, but not the seed or anything, and then see if it was actually hurt more at, like, what was it, level 2 or 3? Because that would be an instance where that flag completely like added 30 minutes, I think, because there's no survivability and no killing things.
Would have been a very different seed.
Well, GG guys, we'll do it again on Sunday.
Yeah,
GG's.
Yeah,
good
GG,
luck
everybody.
with
Thanks,
your
thanks
practice.
everybody for running with the comms on this one. I know it can be a messy one, so I appreciate everybody that jumped in and helped volunteer on this.
I will agree with that sentiment.
Yeah, super grateful for everyone who's put in so much effort to put this whole thing on. This is out of left field, but he's not here tonight. But I do want to shout out C Parsley for commentating like 2/3 of all the races in this league, and also want to thank our commentators tonight for being ready to come on request. Apparently, some people had you guys in mind, so that was cool of you.
Hey, you're welcome. Not a problem.
Yeah, and speaking of the Sunday race, it will be at 5 Eastern, I believe, 2 Pacific on Sunday. So you can get that one on your calendar as well. I think we're maybe going to raid Randomania.
That is correct.
So yeah, until the raid goes off, GG to all the runners. Thank you to High Spirits again for restreaming. Beta Strap for joining me in the booth. RG365 and Shali for tracking. And tune in on Sunday to see the conclusion.